My name is Jenna and I work within the marketing team here at MLA. At MLA, we provide flexible distant learning programs tailored to professionals across the global maritime and marine industries. Our courses are designed to support career growth at every stage, whether you're just at the beginning or you're working towards senior leadership roles. With that being said, we are delighted to have you with us today. We'll be exploring not just the professional pathway from cadetship to first officer, but also the personal journey, including resilience, well-being, and work-life balance. Our speaker is Rebecca Taylor, currently first officer with HX Expeditions. Rebecca's love of the sea began early on before she embarked on her cadetship. Since then, she's gained a lot of experience across different vessels and risen to her current role on the bridge. She is also studying for her Chief Mate Master's course, building towards the next step of her career. Rebecca will share her journey, the role of CPD in her progression, and reflections on mental well-being and leadership at sea. We'll then open the floor to you all for your questions, so please add them in the Q&A box at any time. So, Rebecca, welcome and thank you for joining us today.
You're more than welcome. Thank you for having me.
That's all good. So let's just jump straight into the questions. Could you start by telling us about your early passion for the sea and what first drew you into maritime career?
Yeah, of course. So my first memory of being at sea in some way, I reckon I was probably about 6 or 7 years old. And this is just what I remember. So I was told I was on boats earlier than that. And when I say boats, I mean like small boats, small sailing yachts, dinghies, back at my home place in east of London in Essex. And my first vivid memory is me and my good friend, who I'm still friends with now, were out on this tiny little Optimist, which is a small dinghy, and it kind of resembles a bathtub with a sail on it. And my dad was trying to teach me to sail, so he just pushed me out, and I absolutely screamed. I hated it. However, I stuck at it, and I became quite a keen avid sailor. I sailed a lot. I went to boarding school and sailed there 3 or 4 times a week. Like, I absolutely loved it. I am not for 1 minute saying that you need to be a sailor to do this career. You do not. And many people that started their cadetship with me back in January 2019 had never set foot on a boat before and work at sea. So I'm not saying you need to have had a background in sailing, but for me it really helped, and that is where my love for the sea first started. So yeah, really, really young, even though initially I really hated it. But I think when you're 6 or 7 years old, I mean, it was scary just getting pushed out and like waved off from the beach, you know, as my dad just stood there and waved at me. But yeah, it stems from a really young age, so I would say it's in my blood.
Yeah. Looking back at your cadetship, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced and how did you manage to overcome them?
So, my cadetship. So my cadetship, I mean, probably the most obvious one, I started in 2019. I qualified in July, 20th of July, 2022. So it took about 3.5 years. But over that time was COVID, and COVID affected many people's lives. But for us doing our cadetship, it meant that a lot of our sea time was delayed. So I would say I was probably one of the luckier ones that only delayed my course. It was supposed to be 3 years to 3.5. But that was definitely a challenge, going to sea but not having a full manned ship. Like, we were on minimum manning for a long time. My sea phases were really, really short. So in a 3.5 year period where you have to get 12 months of sea time, I did 7 ships, which I would say was actually a blessing in disguise. But it definitely made me, what's that saying, you know, a jack of all trades but a master of none. So even once I qualified, I didn't feel like I really, really knew one particular part of the industry. I just felt like I had dipped my toe in a lot of different parts of the industry. So that was definitely something that I had to overcome whilst being a cadet, but more once I qualified. So I'd say COVID was the biggest factor in my cadetship. I think, you know, a few individuals, I won't name names, and working for certain companies that I was on during my different ships I was working on as a cadet, that were captains, British, and they made it very, very difficult for me and other females that I've heard of, and males actually. It wasn't just, I had a young gentleman message me and he had exactly the same experience with the same captain. And I think that definitely was a challenge. You know, very rude, very male chauvinistic, didn't think I should be there, was very much someone that, I don't know whether it was that he didn't particularly respect me or thought that I was something that I wasn't. Maybe he prejudged me, I don't know. But anyway, it was difficult, and it made, I mean, I was only on that ship for, I think, for 4 weeks, but it made the first week, I mean, I refused to go on the bridge. It was just unbearable. But overcoming challenges like that, it has made me realize that there are going to be people, and there are people that I work with or did work with, that you don't always get on, and you don't always see eye to eye, and there's going to be people like that in every walk of your life. But yeah, those challenges were difficult. I wouldn't say it was many people, like out of, if you say out of 100%, maybe it was 90% of the people I met were absolutely amazing.
Okay.
Just some.
So overall positive.
Overall really positive, but I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because it absolutely does. But it just builds resilience in somebody. And it wasn't just women, it was young men too, that this particular person didn't like so much.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah.
So what role has CPD played in your own journey beyond just gaining a qualification?
Yeah, continuous professional development. This is something that is really, really important in our industry. Not just like you say, not just in terms of gaining your cadetship, and then once you've gained your enough sea time, gaining your next qualification up, which I'm currently doing, my Chief Mates Unlimited Masters, 3,000 gross ton, as you rightly said. But whilst on board, for me, I really believe that you're like captain, the people ahead of you, people above you in rank, you know, I've really, really learned from the people, and continuously learn from the people that have been there longer than me, had more experience than me, and they are the ones that I am learning from daily. And everywhere we go poses new challenges. So continuous professional development happens all the time. It happens through your office. You know, they're putting us on extra courses. They're really investing money and time into their crew members, and ultimately that just makes the whole ship like a safer, happier place to be. It means that we're all really singing off the same hymn sheet, because we've all come from different companies beforehand. And expedition especially, it's a very unique working environment. It's very dynamic, it's changing all the time. No 2 days are the same. We don't really have set routes. As much as we have a set itinerary, that itinerary can change an hour before we're supposed to be somewhere. So we really have to learn to adapt, overcome, be really resilient, and really, really work together as a team. But that only comes through learning from each other, learning from different experiences, going on different courses. So it's happening daily, and it's so, so important. And ultimately as well, if your company are investing in you as crew members or you as an officer, by putting you on extra courses or giving you mentorship through other people on board, or putting you even, you know, I'm a mentor of some of the second officers, and it really pushes my own like learning and development by helping other people, and it all adds to a better environment on board. So yeah, it's incredibly important, and it happens every day.
Yeah, of course. And just bouncing off of that, for someone studying or in training, what would be the best way to start building a CPD habit early on?
Oh, okay. Talking. I would say that yeah, just speak to one another, learn from other people. Once you qualify, I was told this before I qualified, but I didn't believe it. You know, people said it's like driving a car. Once you gain your license, it doesn't mean you can suddenly drive. It just means that you have got the bit of paper that says you can. So once I went on my first ship qualified, which was a high-speed ferry, I was sailing out pool for a couple of months, and I was doing, like 30 knots across the Dover Straits. I was terrified. And even though I had the bit of paper that said I could drive and navigate that ship, I didn't feel like I could. And I think it's very important to realize that you, just because you have the license doesn't mean you have the necessary experience yet, and it will come, but you have to learn from the people around you that have been there way longer than you. And yes, you might go in as an officer, but there are other people on board, the bosun, other crew members who have way more experience than you do. So being able to learn from others, speak openly, have open conversations, be transparent, be kind to one another, and really listen to what other people have to say, and to soak in everything, like be a sponge, that will ultimately improve your own your own professional development way quicker than by doing courses.
Yeah, of course. And just out of curiosity as well, so when facing certain barriers, like for instance you mentioned COVID, how are you able to continuously grow professionally when facing a barrier like that? Is it possible, and how did you do it?
I mean, yeah, it's definitely possible. I mean, life goes on, right? There are barriers in everyone's career or everyone's life. That happens a lot, and no career is linear, and no, that I think you ultimately learn more. You could argue that you learn more from the times that you have that are a bit harder. And if all of your career or life was easy and never pushed you like beyond your limits or what you thought was possible, you ultimately won't learn. And I really, really stand by that. So if I'm sitting in my comfortable zone, I'm not going to push myself. And I am very much someone that's gone through my life, and I think it's a positive thing. My mum tells me sometimes to slow down a bit, but I am always looking for like the next challenge, and what can push me more, and what can I do to improve myself, whether that's, that I'm home on leave, whether that's like learning a new language or something, just like pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. I haven't learned a new language. That was just an example, but I speak English. English. I would love to speak another language. I'm so jealous of people that can. But anyway, so just don't be scared of those times that are harder, because ultimately you will get through it, and there will be like a light at the end of the tunnel. And not every day at sea is easy. Like, it's absolutely not. And what you see online is only a very like snapshot of someone's whole career or life. So knowing that you can like push through and stay strong and resilient, and know yourself, know what you stand for. And yeah, ultimately that's how I have learned and overcome things. I don't give in when, I'm not saying I'm rude or obnoxious in any way, but I do not give in when someone says, oh, you can't do that, or I don't know, there's been challenges thrown my way. I'm like, well, I am going to do that, and I will show you that I will do that, and I'll make it so it will happen. And maybe I'm not explaining that very well. Did I answer your question?
No. Yes, you did. That's very inspiring.
Okay.
So moving on to the next question. So the industry is increasingly talking about work-life balance, and like you mentioned, you would love to learn another language. So particularly for women, what has your experience been like, and what strategies have helped you personally with work-life balance?
Yeah, this is a difficult one, and it's not something that I don't think I've mastered it yet. So I'm just going to say what I've done so far that helps me when I'm at work. I mean, I am very lucky. I work a time on, time off schedule. So I went from working 1 month on, 1 month off, and I currently work 2 months on, 2 months off. So in that sense, in itself, that gives me a work-life balance, because I have the same time at home as I do on board. However, once I'm actually on board, how do I keep my pot full in all senses rather than just career? I do things like, to me, going to the gym and just spending, even if it was just stretching, just spending 20 minutes on myself is really important. Reading before I go to bed, just to like switch my mind off, because my brain is busy all the time, and I'm very much someone, like I said, that is like always thinking of the next thing. What can I do to push myself? business can I start? And I have all these ideas, and sometimes I just have to like rein it in and learn to like look after myself. So that is things that I do to, while I'm on board, FaceTime home, like having particular times that I think, right, I have 15 minutes, let's call my family, call my loved ones, call my friends at home, like catch up with what's they're doing in their life, because my life can seem really exciting because I'm seeing penguins and whales all the time, but I actually want to know what's happening in like real life, home life, which I find is really important to stay completely in touch with. So that's what I do when I'm on board. And home, yeah, I mean, it's slightly easier for me because I have a time on, time off balance, but I do find I'm working on it. I'm not the best at it, I can't lie. I'm not the best at it. So that is a difficult question, but yeah.
It's a learning curve.
Yeah.
Have you encountered any barriers as a woman in maritime? And if so, how have you navigated them?
Yeah, I mean, the one I briefly spoke about when I was a cadet was something that sticks out in my mind. I mean, if I'm going to be transparent with what happened without going into too much detail, this particular captain, I stepped on the bridge. I had not been on board that ship before. I was wearing a jumper, high neck jumper, jeans and trainers. So nothing at all, nothing different to anybody else. And I stepped on board. I walked up the gangway, went up to the bridge, and the first thing you do as a cadet is hand over your certificates and your TRB, your training record book, and you have a chat with everyone on the bridge and work out what's your work pattern going to be, where your cabin is, and all things like that. Get your muster number, the safety, familiarization, yada, yada, yada. So, and he was very, very, very rude and told me to get off his bridge and that I had to get changed. And just to put it into perspective as to why it was extra rude, is next to me was a male cadet, same point in their cadetship as me. We had about 3 weeks left of sea time to get out of a 12-year block of sea time we were aiming to get before getting our final license. He was also wearing jeans, trainers and a jumper. There was nothing different between the two of us other than I was female and he was male, and he didn't get the same treatment as I did. So that was difficult. And how I went about it is difficult when they're the captain, because you ultimately would go to the captain as a last resort, but he was the captain. So I went to the chief officer, who is one below, and I mean, the chief officer was there, they saw the whole thing. So I explained my concern with it being on this ship and how I was introduced and my first impressions. And, he spoke me through things. We got changed, I got into my uniform and I did things that the captain was asking me to do. And I, in the end, had to just kind of take okay, I'm going to lay low for a little bit, which I don't believe was maybe the right thing to do. I think I should have stuck up for myself more, and I should have said, I'm sorry, excuse me, is there something that is wrong here? And I should have stuck up for myself more. And that's something I regret actually a little bit. But now I certainly do stick up for myself, and I think that other women should too. Like, we absolutely have a right to be there, and there is getting more and more of us, and we shouldn't be treated any differently to men. We should be exactly the same. And I don't expect special treatment because I'm a female. I want to be treated the same. So yeah, that's what happened and how I dealt with it. And I went through the channels of speaking to people and managed to deal with it that way. And the situation was sorted. And actually that captain happened a few times after I got off, and he ended up leaving the company for various reasons. So yeah, I wish I had stuck up for myself a little bit more. That would be my advice to other females that have a similar experience, is don't let someone take your experience from you. But yeah, and that's, I felt like he did a little bit. He took a bit of my confidence away in that moment, and I wish I hadn't let him. Yeah.
It's very unfortunate to hear that stuff still happens.
It does, and that is the reality of it, right? Like, that is what we're trying to stop from happening. It comes down to education. The more people we can educate about it, and the more people that hear, that hopefully this stuff will become less and less, because it does happen.
Yeah, and just bouncing off of that, what kind of support support and policy changes would you like to see to encourage more women to join and stay in the industry?
Oh, that is so tough. That is so tough. Support and policy changes. Oh my goodness, I actually don't know. I would say that, well, as I said before, I don't want to be treated any differently. I don't want a policy that is specifically for women. I don't want that, but I want it to be as suitable a workplace for us as it is for men. So, for example, uniform. Uniform at sea is, I mean, I don't think I've ever been issued uniform that actually fits me, not once. And I buy my own uniform now because I'm just fed up with dealing with companies that don't provide uniform that fits me. And I am not small or big, I'm just normal, average. And it doesn't. Women's clothing at sea doesn't really exist. And I wish that their companies were a bit more forward thinking in that women do need clothing that fits them and looks smart and fits them properly, you know, like not a trouser size that's 2 sizes too big and there can be 2 of me inside one belt loop, you know, like something that actually fits, that looks smart, and that we feel as looked after and cared for and seen and heard as the men do. So that is what I would like to see change.
That's insane. I never knew that.
That happens. Yeah.
Wow. Looking ahead, do you see yourself staying at sea long term, or would you consider moving into a shore-based role in the future?
Yeah, okay, this is an interesting one, and this is something I've been speaking a lot about in more recent months. So I love what I do. Like, I absolutely love it. I'm so passionate about it, and I never want to leave the sea, in short. However, I, on the flip side of that, would love one day to start a family. Not yet. There's a good couple of years first before I think about that, but that is something that is in my peripheral vision for the future. And if I was one day lucky enough to do that, unfortunately, the career that I'm in, deep sea, like, you know, I work in Antarctica and the Arctic, probably wouldn't support me taking a baby on board, or I'd have to leave my baby at home, or, you know, whatever. And I personally, I mean, some women maybe could do that, but I know I wouldn't. So in my future, I do see at some point me coming closer to land. Now, whether that is actually land-based, still within the maritime sector, or whether that's something a little bit closer within the UK shores, that's a possibility. It's something that I've definitely considered. I've not ruled it out, but it's an interesting one when we speak about, you know, why isn't there as many female captains, or why isn't there as many? Well, I think that is the reason. Women are more maternal people than men. That's just biology, and a lot of women do end up leaving the industry or coming closer to shore to start families. And I would love to be captain. Love. Do I think I'm going to be captain in the Antarctic? Probably not, because these things take a long time to happen, because they're based on experience and qualification combined. And if there is space available and you get the right promotion at the right time, and I don't want to be promoted too fast, I want to be promoted when it's right. And but I also want to have a family, and, you know, I'm getting older, women have a biological clock, this is all just fact. And so do you see what I'm saying? I'm aware of that factor, but it doesn't mean that I couldn't be a captain on other ships that are closer.
Yeah.
Who knows? So it's definitely I want to get my master's license. You know, I wouldn't be doing this license now, my Chief Mates Unlimited Master 3000, if I didn't see myself doing my Master's Unlimited. I absolutely do. I want to go the full way with my qualifications. Yeah, who knows? But I'm open to everything.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
What has been the most rewarding part of life at sea for you? Something shore-based that you might have never experienced?
Some most rewarding part of being at sea. Oh my goodness, there's so many. There's actually so many. How do I whittle that down? But for people that haven't ever been, this may sound so silly, but the sunrises and the sunsets you see while being at sea is they are just something that I can't explain. The places I visit, I've traveled the world for free and I've been paid to do it. I mean, it's just an incredible career for so many reasons. It's hard. You know, there are times where you are away from your family, you're away from your loved ones, you miss Christmases, birthdays, christenings, funerals, weddings, that you miss all of that sometimes because you're on board, and that can be tough. But for me, the positives of being and doing what I love day in, day out, I'm never bored. There's not a day where I think, I hate this. There's days where I think this is tough and I could do with being at home and having a proper long 12-hour sleep, but there's never a day where I think I don't like this anymore. And I feel really privileged and lucky to be able to say that about my career. And so, yeah, I would say there's so many positives, and the sunrises and sunsets are definitely one. The friends you make from all over the world, the people I've met, the experiences that it's led to, like being able to be here and speaking with you now, like this wouldn't happen if I didn't have my career. So it's just so many things have come from it that I would never ever expect. And the community I've built online is just so amazing, and that's all come through my career. And there's so many positives to it. Did I answer the question?
Yes,
I think
you did.
I did. I find that I go on a tangent and then I'm like,
no, that's fine. That's what this is for.
Okay.
So for cadets and junior officers listening today, what advice would you give them about building both a successful career and a sustainable career at sea?
I would say it comes from within. So I mentioned earlier about being resilient. You have to have resilience, like resilience in abundance. And if you don't have it, pretend you have it. Like fake it till you make it. Like you have to have resilience throughout this career. And chops and changes so much. But something else I would say, if you're unhappy on one ship and you're not happy with the company, don't be afraid to change, because there will always be another opportunity out there. You know, like we have a lot of ships. It's 95% of our trade comes through sea. The tourism industry, massive part of it is through cruise ships. There's such a huge part of being at sea that isn't just, like containers, tankers. There's so much more. We've got the super yacht side of it too. There's so much. And if you don't like what you're currently doing, never be afraid to change. Because I had that experience. I went on Royal Caribbean my first job qualified was Condor Liberation. It was just this fast ferry for the summer months, just to step in and help. And then I went on Royal Caribbean on the big cruise ships I was there for 8 weeks in total. And look, it just wasn't for me. Like, I'm not going to sit here and really talk badly about the company. There were things I didn't like. It didn't suit what I stood for. And there were definitely good reasons as to why I left. For me, it suits other people. But what I want to get across is that I wasn't scared to leave, and had I not have left, I wouldn't have found the company that I work for now, and I wouldn't be so happy in what I'm doing like I am, and I wouldn't have been promoted to first officer, because that's come through being at the company that I work for now and showing myself to do well there. And so I just think be resilient, stand up for yourself, show them that you can do it too, listen to other people, really, really learn, be that sponge that I spoke about earlier, soak every bit of information in, and just don't take no for an answer. Like, you absolutely can do it, and it isn't easy. Every day can be really, really challenging, but the positives and the rewards, and I mean, if you're British, the tax-free cash, like, let's be real, it's worth it. So absolutely, that's the advice I would give, and just don't give up, because
do you think higher education, like distant learning degrees, actually help officers progress faster in their maritime career?
I do. I think surely that having more qualifications under your belt, no matter what they are. I mean, obviously, if you go and do an art degree, that might not help you work at sea. But if you get degrees or other higher education qualifications under your belt that are maritime led, yeah, of course it can help your industry, your career within the industry progress faster. The flip side to that is I think it can help your career progress faster, maybe more so on land. It can do at sea, but there needs to be the space for you to be able to progress in the ranks, because quite often you are finding at the moment that a lot of what I'm seeing it quite a lot is a lot of the higher ranks are, you know, older generation that have been there for quite a long time, and until people start to like chop and change and move on in their life, the lower ranks or the other, you know, the places, there needs to be the place available, is what I'm saying, for you to be able to go up through the ranks and progress within your career at sea. And that doesn't always come through qualification. Qualification helps, and it can add to your portfolio and add to your CV, and it can step you apart from, you know, put you in a better limelight than others. If you're both applying for a job, you have this amount of qualifications and they only have a small amount, then yes, of course, you'll probably get picked over them. But it also comes down to experience. So gain as much experience as you've got as you can possibly get, and all of that in turn will help you, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and the maritime industry is obviously evolving very fast with sustainability, automation, and AI reshaping operations. So, how can young seafarers prepare to stay relevant in this very quickly changing environment?
Yeah, well, I think we're the younger seafarers, especially like you said, we are in almost a better position when it comes to the maritime industry, adapting things like AI into their systems and things like that, because we are the ones that have grown up with it. We're almost not having to learn it for the first time, because it's been like integral in our upbringing almost. I know AI is more of a newer thing, but I mean, let's just take ECDIS, for example. ECDIS is an electronic navigational system that is now available like pretty much worldwide, and it's electronic charts basically. And for a long time that was quite difficult for people to get on board with, because they were very much used to navigation was very much paper based. And now you actually don't really see paper-based navigation anymore. In fact, the UKHO has stopped producing paper charts. So it's completely gone to electronic. And it's our generation that is really driving that forward and is really like up on it. We're learning it more in the colleges with the ones that are like that understand it more. So I would say that we're in a really good position when it comes to the industry changing, because we're already in that change. We've like lived in it, we've grown up with it, if you see what I'm saying. Autonomous ships, this is something that is yeah, I'm not sure really what to say on that. I think that where it's necessary, you know, there's an autonomous ship, there's a ferry that's autonomous in Norway, and I'm sure there are other autonomous ships that I don't know about. I'm sure there are, and they're being built and being, you know, pushed out into the industry more and more. And where they can be helpful and aid our industry, I think then brilliant, lovely. But I'm not very sure what to say on that, because I don't think it will ever take our jobs, but who knows. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit naive, but I'm hoping not. I don't see how autonomous ships could ever take over the passenger industry, for example, because, you know, if we're dealing with passengers, how can autonomous, how could it come from an office? But yeah, maybe we're going a bit off topic, but yeah, in terms of AI, I think we are the best ones to be in a position I think we're the best to be driving that forward and bringing that into our industry. And yeah, so.
Do you think it's better for new officers to gain a few years of sea experience before moving ashore, or should they explore shore-based roles earlier?
I absolutely think they should go to sea. That is my definitive answer. They should go to sea. I just think that it's quite difficult for office members within shipping companies to be able to really know what's going on board, what's happening on board the ships, if they've never been there themselves. And I find that, you know, it's like the super yacht industry, for example. It's very difficult to get a job as an officer straight off the bat had you not worked on deck first. And I can totally see why, because how can you possibly tell the deckhands what to do, how to do it, and if you've never done it before? And I think that if you're the shipping company's office staff, I think would be more well-rounded and better equipped to be able to do their job and have a better understanding had they been at sea first. And I definitely think that newly qualified officers should go to sea first for a couple of years.
And just going off of that, many professionals plan to eventually move ashore. Do you think additional qualifications could make that transition easier? And what should we look out for in those programs?
I mean, yeah, they definitely make that. I mean, I haven't gone ashore yet, but I definitely think that having additional qualifications, maritime qualifications, will help that transition to shore easier and more smooth. And I think that this is something I'm a little bit worried about, because it also is one of the main reasons I've done my Chief Mates Unlimited Masters 3000 qualification, because I was told a long time ago, if you have that qualification, the transition to shore-based jobs is a lot easier because it's regarded a higher qualification. And now they're really introducing the degree route for cadets. So not only do you gain your certificate of competency, your unlimited certificate of competency, you also then gain a degree. So then that means that once you are able to go to shore, you'd be a lot more highly regarded in shore-based jobs because you have a degree under your belt. And I think that is only a positive thing. I don't have a degree, so it kind of makes me a little bit worried. And there's this new cadet route that's coming through, but it is definitely something that I would look into, like changing. I mean, I've looked into maybe topping mine up to a degree, just so I have that to fall back on, like you say, to move into shore-based jobs. And I think it's really, really important that you just always always thinking about, what if, let's think about the future. And so yeah, I think it massively helps.
Yeah, of course. And have you had any mentors or role models who have guided you along your journey? And how important is mentorship for cadets and junior officers?
I think it is incredibly important, not only in your own personal life, but also on board, to be able to have that person that you can speak to, whether they're on board with you or they're on your phone that you can chat with or call up sometimes. Like that is so important when it's in your study place. Having someone that you can lean on when you've got a worry about an exam or you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed. And I mean, it massively helps. So for me, there has been different mentors throughout different stages of my career. And I mean, the person that's always been there obviously is my family, like my mom. She is like my biggest idol and biggest mentor, obviously, throughout my whole life. She has been that person, but even more so in the last couple of years, because doing these exams and doing my cadetship and doing all the exams and doing these exams now, like, it is stressful. So having someone there that I can pick up the phone and cry to sometimes is really, really important. So obviously my mom for me is a massive integral part in that. I've had lectures at the college in Southampton that have helped me along the way. There was one particular lady who taught me meteorology when I was a cadet called Mrs. Greg Dunn. She was incredible. I had another lady that taught me navigation. She was also incredible. I've had a couple of gentlemen that have taught me stability. One in particular, Felix, amazing. And even now, when I'm not a student, I still feel like I can email him and say, hey, I'm having this worry, can you help me? And I just think that's massively helpful. On board, having someone like I mean, whoever it is, a chief officer, a captain, another officer of the same rank as you, a safety officer, someone that you could think, actually, I'm feeling a little bit like stressed today, or I'm not sure how to do that. I would like someone to help me, or whatever it may be. I really understand this part of the job, but I'm a little bit unsure on the stability computer. Having someone to teach you those things and help you and guide you, that isn't judging, that only has your best interest at heart and doesn't find it, infuriating to them. It doesn't take time from their job, because sometimes you can find, you ask somebody something and it's almost like a chore for them to help you, and they're not the people you need mentoring you. You need someone that is really keen and makes the time. Or if they don't have the time, then I've had people come to me, second officers, and say, oh, Rebecca, hey, can you help me with this? Absolutely, but I'm just like so swamped right now with planning another route in Antarctica with a high dense ice or whatever, so I will help you, just give me 10 minutes, like that kind of thing is so important. So yeah, it's good to have. I would say I don't have one mentor, I have different ones for different parts of my
Different
life.
things.
Yeah,
Of course. And just linking back to maritime education, if someone is just starting their maritime education journey, what would you say to encourage them to keep investing in learning, even when it feels like there's a long path ahead?
think of the future. Just keep that like in your brain all the time when you're sat at your desk trying to do the hard grafting that the cadetship takes, or other maritime courses take. When you're sat there thinking, how am I actually going to do this? Think of that future outcome. Why are you there? Always ask yourself the why, because that's what I found. I did not many people know this, so I started a degree in fashion design at Brighton University before I did my cadetship, and I sat there after about 6 months of doing that degree, and I asked myself, and I distinctly remember doing it, why am I here? And my answer was, I actually don't know. Like, I didn't have an answer as to why I was there doing it. I felt like I had to be there because that was just like the normal thing to do, was to go to university, and I hadn't considered any other possible other options for me. And I certainly didn't know about this career. So I thought, no, I'm not doing this because I don't have a why. So I left and I quit, and I made the best decision, because I ended up on a cadetship 3 years later, and best decision I ever made. But what I'm saying is, always have a why, have it in your head the whole time. Why am I doing this? And because you've started it for a reason. So what is that reason? And use that to drive you through the hard times that are hard, and they're tough, and the exams are difficult. And once you qualify, to not get complacent, because that's when you can sit in this like level of normal and like easy, but in times of easy periods that you're not growing. So that's what I said earlier about if in times where it's more difficult, that is where real growth happens. So always think, okay, what next thing can I do? Whether that's another qualification, sure, it's not going to be easy, but that's the good thing. You're going to grow from that. So that is my advice when it comes to that.
Thank you so much, Roberta, for sharing so many valuable insights. We're now going to start taking some questions from the audience, so please continue to add your questions in the Q&A box. I'll point as many as I can towards Rebecca. Okay, so when things get difficult at sea, what do you remind yourself of to stay motivated and focused? It's a good one.
That is a good one. What do I remind myself of? Wow. Okay. So I mentioned earlier that you have those hard days, but I have a lot of really positive, good days too. So when things are hard at sea, I don't necessarily think of home, because I almost find that harder. So I think of like the good times I've had at sea, and what has led to those, and what has led to those moments, because like maybe I can create that moment again, or not the same moment but similar moments. So maybe it was going and talking to reception and having a laugh with the gentleman behind the desk, so maybe it's a case of I just need to see someone else that day. Maybe my walls of the bridge and the other 5 people that I work with are getting a bit much, because it is, like when you work with the same people day in, day out for months and months and months, it can get a bit much. So sometimes it's taking yourself away from that environment. So that's what I think of. I tend not to think of home. I do think that makes it worse. So I think of good times on board, and I put myself back in that situation to try and recreate that, to bring myself happiness.
Yeah, of course. So for someone unsure on whether to build a long-term career at sea or move ashore later, what factors should they consider before deciding?
Oh, okay. I mean, can I have some context? Is this, I don't know what, oh, this is difficult. Okay, so for me, this is what I would consider. Let's talk about the obvious ones. Pay. What are you being paid out on board, and what are you going to be paid on land? Can you still have the same life you have while you're at sea, but your life at home while you're at sea, if you moved ashore? Would your life benefit from moving ashore? Maybe your relationships are struggling, or I don't know, whatever it is, and maybe your relationships would be way better if you moved ashore. Maybe your finances wouldn't be affected that much, or there's that kind of thing that you've got to think about, the more practical elements. But then also think about, like, will you actually enjoy what you do as much if you move ashore versus staying at sea? If you're really unhappy at sea, then maybe moving ashore is the thing that's going to fix that, and then you should do that. Because for me, you should never stick to something if you are unhappy in it, because you're not going to get anywhere. And I just wouldn't want unhappiness on anyone. So if you're unhappy, then absolutely change what you're doing. So they're the kind of things I would think about. I would think about like future, like what does my future look like if I move ashore versus staying at sea? What other things are there? My goodness, so many. So many. Am I going to have to pay tax? Like they're the things that people don't speak about in being British. I mean, we do have that luxury at the moment of we earn tax-free cash if you're out of the country for 183 days or more of the year at sea. So that is something that I really do consider. Of course I do. And I think I would be not being transparent if I didn't mention that. So yeah, they are the things I think about. And there are aspects of life that definitely does struggle more so being away, like relationships. So it is hard being at sea and maintaining relationships, whether it's a partner, whether it's friends, family. It's difficult. So I would weigh up all of those options, really think about all aspects of your life and what pros and cons will come from doing each one. I would write a list. I'm such a list person. I've got so many lists. That's what I would do.
I can see someone has written that you are very inspiring and a big encouragement for women joining Maritime. Do you or will you consider mentoring in the future, as mentoring is very powerful and rewarding?
Absolutely. That is something that I think about quite a lot, actually. Firstly, thank you for saying such lovely things. And but it is something that I've thought about. I do, not so much for the mentoring, for the fact that it's just having friends. Like, I love having a connection, what am I trying to say? A group of people that are like-minded, that want to better themselves in all aspects of their life. And it is important to have people you can chat to when you're at sea, and sometimes it's not the people on board you want to speak to, and it is another female. So absolutely, it is something that I think about. But I'm always there on social media, and I do reply to people that genuinely have like good intentions, and they want to ask questions and they want to be friends. Like, I genuinely do reply to those people, and I see messages. So you can always message me.
Well, we have quite a few questions. How can young professionals make themselves more visible to shipping companies or employers when applying for cadetship or officer roles?
Okay, LinkedIn. One word, LinkedIn. It's so good. It's so good. It's so powerful. You can really reach so many people, write the right things on there. I'll tell you what I did during the kind of last year of my cadetship. Every time I went on a new ship as a cadet, and I went on so many, like I said, I went on 7, and during my whole cadetship, and I post, I think you could post 9 photos, or maybe they've changed it now, but you could at the time only post 9 photos on LinkedIn, and you could write a little something. So I posted 9 photos of my time on board. I posted a little spiel about the ship and what I'd learned and how it had progressed me and how I was feeling. And over time, it really built I was seeing more on LinkedIn, and the more people were seeing it, the companies were seeing it. And then when I qualified with my COC, I did the same thing. I posted a picture of me qualifying. I said, hey, I've just qualified. I'm so proud. And I was so proud. So I wrote all of that, and I have not struggled since to find a job. And I honestly think at first that was because of my LinkedIn, because no one knew who I was. I mean, no one knew anything other than what I had written online. So I really think that LinkedIn is so powerful. Connect to the companies that you want to you're interested in, message them. I mean, what have you got to lose? So I absolutely think that is a really good way to start exposing, put yourself out there, expose yourself a little bit more to these types of companies, and apply. And you know what have you got to lose? If you don't currently work for them, if you don't get in, I mean, you've not lost anything. You might get it. So just go for it. That is what I would say.
Of course. We have a lot of questions, but I feel as though we'll only have time.
I will try and be quick
maybe
when I speak.
2 more. So,
Okay.
What was one piece of advice you wished someone had given you when you first joined the industry?
Oh my God. One piece of advice. Oh, that's really difficult. There's so much advice that I wish I'd had. Don't freak out when you get put in a ballast tank on day 1. That would have been good. I mean, I properly freaked out, and I thought, what on earth am I doing? And I mean, I was literally put in a ballast tank day 1, first day at sea ever, and I was put in a ballast tank, and I thought, no, I really stepped into the wrong career here, but I stuck at it, and look where I am now. So I absolutely would have liked a bit more insight into knowing that, like, these experiences are part of a cadetship, and you're not just going to go on a bridge and wear cute uniform. You know, you're going to be covered in grease, and like the reality of what it is like would have been good. But maybe that was also me being a little bit naive. But that would have been really nice.
Yeah. And I have here, what personal qualities or habits do you think make the biggest difference between someone who's just worked at sea and someone who builds a lasting career?
I mean, how many times can I say the word resilient? I mean, you've really got to be so yeah. I mean, yeah. So resilience, be versatile, speak out, be try and make yourself known. Like, this industry is so like quiet. As much as it's getting bigger and more well known, it's still so quiet, and it's surprising how many people that I meet, and what do you do? I work when I'm in the merchant navy, whatever. What is that? And no one knows what it is. Like, it's still such a hidden industry. So be proud of what you do, speak out about it, go to conferences, join things like this, and meet as many people as you can. And in life, I've really lived by this. It is not what you know, it's who you know. So like, use that and build this like whole network of people, because it's so important. And I would say that is the difference between someone that is just like doing a career and coasting, and someone that is like really pushing boundaries within their career, and it makes it last and is happy in what they do and proud of what they do, because I really think that makes a big difference in your career.
Of course, yeah, and I agree. So we'll take the final final question.
Okay.
If you could leave our audience with just one message about the role of education in shaping a meaningful and sustainable maritime career, what would it be?
Never give up. Never give up, and don't be scared of educating yourself, because it's not always easy. And there are, let's quick story, one really quick story. I have just so as part of your Chief Mates Unlimited exam, you do 2 written exams as it stands at the moment. So you do 2 written exams, 1 in stability, 1 in navigation, and you do 1 oral speaking exam with an MCA surveyor. So I passed my navigation exam first time back in November last year. I passed my oral speaking Chief Mates Unlimited exam back in March, on the 4th of March 2025. I have failed my stability exam 3 times. And I could have quite easily thought, no, I'm giving up, like whatever, I give up. But I'm absolutely not going to do that, because I know that has gone through my brain. Like, I'm very normal. I'm the same as everyone else. Like, as much as I seem really positive, there are times where I think, no, can't do this. But it's pushing through those times, and I will pass. And I mean, I retook it on Friday, so let's hope the 4th time is a charm. But yeah, so just don't be scared of when you hit those knockbacks, because there will be many. You will come out better, and it ultimately shapes you better as an officer, as a person. So I really, that's my message. I don't know how I sum that up. That is my message. I have it too. I have those bad times too. So just keep going.
Yeah. Rebecca, thank you so much for today's conversation.
You're welcome.
You've given us an honest and inspiring look at the journey from cadetship to first officer, discussing the role of CPD, and also the personal side of life at sea, from mental well-being to leadership, balance, and future aspirations. Thank you everyone who has joined us today. If you want to stay connected to Rebecca, you can find her on LinkedIn. We hope you're leaving the session with encouragement to keep investing in both your professional development and also your well-being. So with that being said, until next time, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.